Hello, welcome to Storytime Read Along with me.
Peppa Pig. Peppa plays football. It's a sunny day and Peppa Pig and Susie Sheep are playing tennis. To you, Susie, cheers Peppa, hitting the ball. Now it's Susie's turn. To you, Peppa, she cries, hitting the ball straight over Peppa's head. Oh dear. Wah! George feels a bit left out. Sorry, George, says Peppa. You can't play tennis. We only have 2 rackets. George can be the ball boy, cheers Susie. Being a ball boy is a very important job, George, says Peppa. Peppa and Susie are having lots of fun, but they keep missing the ball. Ball boy, they shout together. Huff, puff. George is not having fun. He keeps running to get the ball and he is very tired. Hello everyone, cries Peppa. When her friends arrive, we're playing tennis.
Can we play too? Asks Danny Dog.
There aren't enough rackets, replies Susie Sheep. Let's play football then, says Danny Dog. Football, hooray, everyone cheers. We can play girls against boys, says Peppa. Each team needs a goalkeeper, says Danny Dog. Me, shouts Pedro Pony. Me, cries Rebecca Rabbit. Pedro Pony and Rebecca Rabbit decide to be the goalkeepers. The boys' team will start, says Danny Dog. Richard Rabbit gets the ball and runs very fast, right by Peppa Pig, Susie Sheep and Candy Cat, and straight up to the... Goal! Cried Danny and Pedro together as Richard Rabbit kicks the ball straight past Rebecca Rabbit and into the net. The boy is a winner, cheers Danny Dog. That's not fair. We weren't ready, moans Peppa. Rebecca Rabbit picks up the ball and runs. Hey, shouts Danny Dog, that's cheating. You can't hold the ball. Yes, I can, says Rebecca. I'm the goalkeeper. Rebecca throws the ball into the goal, straight past Pedro Pony. Goal! She cries. That goal is not allowed, says Pedro. Yes, it is, says Peppa. No, it isn't, barks Danny. What a lot of noise, snorts Daddy Pig. I'll be the referee. The next team to get a goal will win the game. Richard Rabbit and George run off with the football while everyone is still talking. Where's the ball? Asks Peppa. But it's too late. Richard Rabbit kicks the ball straight into the goal, past Pedro Pony. Hooray! The boys win, cries Danny. Football is a silly game, sighs Peppa, disappointed.
Just a moment, says Danny Pig. The boys scored in their own goal. That means the girls win.
Really? Gasp all the girls. Hooray! Football is a great game, cheers Peppa. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughs. Peppa Pig Sports Day. Today is School Sports Day. Peppa and her friends are all here. The first event is running. The children have to run as fast as they can. Ready, steady, go, says Madame Gazelle. Susie and Peppa are chatting about who can run the fastest. Rebecca Rabbit is in the lead. Peppa and Susie are right at the back. Rebecca Rabbit wins the race. Hooray! Everyone cheers. Peppa and Susie are last.
It's not the winning that matters, Daddy Pig reminds them, but the taking part.
The next event is the long jump, says Madame Gazelle. George and Richard Rabbit have to run and then jump as far as they can. Whoever jumps the furthest is the winner. Ready, steady, go! Oh dear, Richard Rabbit has jumped further than George. Hooray! Shout all his friends. George is not happy. Remember, George, says Peppa, It's not the winning that matters, but the taking part. The next race is the relay. Daddy Pig is in the lead. He hands the baton to Peppa. Thank you, Daddy. You did very well. Now it's my turn to, begins Peppa.
Stop talking and run, snorts Daddy Pig.
Emily Elephant is the winner. Everyone cheers. Hooray! Peppa comes last. She is not feeling happy. It's the last event of the day, the tug of war. Boys against girls. The girls will win, snorts Peppa.
Woof! No, they won't, says Danny. Everyone is pulling so hard the rope breaks.
The result is a draw. Both teams win, says Madame Gazelle. Everybody cheers. Hooray! I love school sports day, snorts Peppa, especially when I win a prize. Peppa Pig school bus trip. Peppa and her friends are going on a school bus trip. Let's check you are all here, says Madame Gazelle. Here, cries Peppa.
Woof! Bah! Grunt! Snort!
Today, begins Madame Gazelle, we are going on a trip to the mountains. Hooray! Cheer all the children. Peppa and Susie are already a little hungry. Please can we eat our lunch now? They ask Madame Gazelle. Why not eat your apples and save the rest for the picnic? She replies.
Crunch, crunch.
The bus has arrived at the foot of the mountain. The road is very steep. Come on, bus, you can make it. Everyone cheers. Peppa and her friends have finally made it to the top of the mountain. Look at the view, gasps Madame Gazelle. All of the children look out over the valley. Wow, sighs Peppa loudly. Wow, wow, wow. Peppa hears in the distance. What was that? She asks quietly. It's your echo, Peppa, replies Madame Gazelle. An echo is the sound you hear when you speak loudly in the mountains, explains Madame Gazelle.
Grunt, woof, bah, snort.
Now it's time for a picnic lunch. Peppa loves picnics. Everyone loves picnics. Munch, slurp, munch, yum, yum. Where are the ducks? Asks Peppa, taking a bite of her sandwich. They always turn up when we have picnics. Quack, quack, quack. Here come the ducks. Hello, would you like some bread? Peppa asks them. The ducks are very lucky today. There is plenty of bread. The bus has arrived. It's time to go home. Let's all sing a song, suggests Madame Gazelle. Hooray! Everyone has had a great day. Yummy! Peppa Pig, Peppa's New Neighbors. Daddy Pig is working hard. He is building a new house. The new house looks very small. Is it a house for elves and fairies? Asks Peppa. No, chuckles Daddy Pig. This is just a model. Daddy Pig shows Peppa and George a drawing of what the real house will look like. Something is missing, says Peppa. She draws a swing to go outside the house.
Perfect, decides Daddy Pig.
Daddy Pig takes Peppa and George to see the new house.
Here we are, he snorts.
But Daddy, says Peppa, there's nothing here.
Chug chug.
That's because the building work hasn't started yet, replies Daddy Pig. Mr. Bull is going to build the new house for Daddy Pig.
Can you build it exactly like this, please, says Daddy Pig.
But bigger, adds Peppa. Mr. Bull shouts to his friends. Mr. Pig wants a house.
Is it going to be built of straw? Asks Mr. Rhino. Or sticks? Asks Mr. Labrador. Or bricks? Asks Mr. Bull.
Daddy Pig wants the new house to be made out of bricks. Mr. Bull gets straight to work. Can we help? Wonders Peppa.
You can lay the first brick, smiles Mr. Bull.
Mr. Bull tells George to put a blob of mortar on the ground. Mortar is a special kind of mud that sticks bricks together.
Grunt.
Each brick must be laid straight and level. It takes ages. Will you finish it today? Asks Peppa.
You can't build a house in a day, snorts Mr. Bull. It will be finished tomorrow.
The next morning, Peppa and George go straight over to see the new house. It's finished, snorts Peppa.
It's almost finished, says Daddy Pig.
It just needs to be inspected. Mr. Rabbit is the building inspector. He looks carefully at the new house. Very good, he decides. But you forgot the swing.
Oh, no, we didn't, shouts Mr. Bull.
The house is all ready for the new neighbours to move in. Mr. Wolf and his family arrive. Mr. Wolf tries huffing and puffing, but the house doesn't fall down. It is very strong.
What is the new house made of? Asks Mr. Wolf.
Bricks, replies Daddy Pig, so don't even think about it. Wendy Wolf likes the new swing. Can you push me? Asks Peppa.
No, grins Wendy. I'll huff and I'll puff you instead.
Hee hee. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Sand Pit. Peppa and her friends are playing in the sand pit. This sand pit is our desert island, decides Peppa. We will live here forever. If we are going to live here forever, I want it to be nice, says Susie Sheep. The desert island just needs some houses, says Peppa.
And roads, woof, barks Danny Dog.
And shops, says Susie Sheep. Dinosaur, shout George and Richard. Yes, snorts Peppa. The desert island can have dinosaurs too. Emily Elephant looks at the desert island. She thinks that it needs trees. Where are we going to get trees from? Asks Susie. Danny Dog has an idea. We have to drive big trucks around the world and look for trees. The dinosaurs guard the desert island while the others go to find some trees. Hello, Mummy Rabbit, says Danny. Have you got any spare trees? Mummy Rabbit picks up some sticks. There you go. Peppa and her friends drive their trucks back around the world. They plant the trees. There, says Peppa. We will live here forever. Candy Cat and Zoe Zebra come to see the desert island. It would be really good if it had a lake, says Candy. Danny digs a lake. Now it needs some water. The children pretend to fly around the world looking for water. Pedro Pony is playing on the roundabout. I know where there is pretend snow, he says. We can melt it to get pretend water. This is a pretend mountain, shouts Pedro. Pedro climbs to the top of the mountain, but there is no snow up there. It has melted in the sun. Can't we pretend that it hasn't melted, says Susie. No, nays, Pedro. It has melted good and proper. Candy spots Daddy Pig. He is drinking from the water fountain. Can we have some water in our buckets, please? Asks Peppa.
Ho ho, snorts Daddy Pig. Of course.
Water! Tee-hee-hee! The children fly back to the desert island. Peppa fills up the lake. We've got water! Hee-hee, giggles Peppa. Freddy Fox arrives. The desert island is nearly ready. If only it had some flags, sighs Zoe. Mr. Fox takes a look in his van. He has got everything in his van.
How about these? He grins.
Now the desert island is perfect. It has trees, roads, shops, dinosaurs, flags and a real lake. We can live here forever and ever, cheers Peppa. Hooray! Hee-hee! Snort! Peppa Pig, tiny creatures. Peppa and George are helping Grandpa Pig to pick vegetables. Grandpa Pig hands Peppa a lettuce. Peppa can see something sitting on the lettuce. There's a horrible monster, she snorts.
That's just a little snail, says Grandpa Pig.
Grrr, monster, says George. George likes the snail. Suddenly, the snail disappears. Where's he gone? Asks Peppa. He's hiding in his shell, explains Grandpa Pig. Grandpa, George and I want to be snails, says Peppa.
Well, says Grandpa, these baskets can be your shells.
I'm going to eat up all Grandpa's lettuces, Peppa laughs. Oi, keep off my lovely lettuces, you cheeky snails, calls Grandpa Pig. And when Grandpa Pig shouts at me, giggles Peppa, I'll hide inside my little house. Monster, says George. Here are Peppa and George's friends. Can we be snails too? They ask.
Well, says Grandpa Pig, you could be something else exciting from the garden.
What's that buzzing sound? Asks Peppa. It's coming from that little house, says Susie.
It's a bee house, explains Grandpa Pig. It's called a hive. The bees collect nectar from the flowers and then fly to the hive to make it into honey.
I like honey, says Peppa. Let's pretend to be bees. Buzz, 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 hee hee hee.
What busy bees, laughs Grandpa Pig.
Granny Pig has been baking bread. Would you busy bees like some toast? She asks. Yes, please, say Peppa and her friends, with lots of honey. I like being a bee because they eat lots of lovely honey, says Susie. I like being a snail, snorts Peppa, because they eat all Grandpa's vegetables. Peppa Pig, the children's Fête. Peppa and her friends are at playgroup. Mr. Bull is checking the school roof.
Moo, shouts Mr. Bull. Who put this roof on for you?
You did, Mr. Bull, says Madame Gazelle.
Mr. Bull nods. Lovely job. It will last you a lifetime.
Madame Gazelle takes Mr. Bull inside. She points to the ceiling. It is leaking water. Look, she says. It is going drip, drip.
You need a new roof, says Mr. Bull.
Where are we going to get the money for a new school roof? Asks Madame Gazelle. The children have a good idea. They decide to put on a school fête to get the money for the new school roof. It is the day of the children's fête. Danny Dog is in charge of the microphone.
Hello, grown-ups,
he says. Get your money out for the new school roof. Emily Elephant is in charge of the bric-a-brac stall. Roll up, she calls. All sorts of bits and bobs. Says Mr. Fox. This all looks very interesting. Mr. Fox is always looking for bric-a-brac.
Balloons,
shouts Pedro Pony. Lovely balloons. May I have a red one? Says Madame Gazelle.
How much money have you got? Asks Pedro.
Madame Gazelle tips all of the coins out of her purse. Clink, clink. Susie Sheep is in charge of the face painting stall. Can I be a mountain leopard, please? Says Miss Rabbit. No, says Susie. I can only do fruit. OK, says Miss Rabbit. Can I be a plum? Decides Susie. Mr. Bull comes to visit Peppa. He has got a green face.
I am an apple, he booms.
Would you like to try the lucky dip? Asks Peppa. Everyone's a winner. Mr. Bull drops a coin into Peppa's tin. Mr. Bull reaches into the lucky dip barrel. He pulls out a dolly. Can I have a go? Asks Mrs. Cat. Mrs. Cat wins a toy digger. Oh, gasps Peppa. Do you want to swap? Mr. Bull and Mrs. Cat do not want to swap. They are pleased with their lucky dip prizes. Freddy Fox calls all of the grown-ups. It is time for the mummies and daddies race. Everybody has to get into a sack and jump across the field. On your marks, get set, go, shouts Freddy. The mummies and daddies have lots of fun jumping in sacks. At the end, Madame Gazelle has an important announcement to make. We have raised enough money to buy a new school roof, she cries. Again! Yippee! Peppa Pig, recycling fun. Mr. Bull,
The bin man is collecting the rubbish. It's early in the morning, so he tries to be as quiet as he can. Crash, clank. But Mr. Bull is not very good at being quiet. Hello, Mr. Bull, snorts Daddy Pig, Peppa and George. Hello, everyone, says Mr. Bull. Peppa and George are helping to clear up the breakfast things. We don't put bottles in the rubbish bin. They can be recycled, says Mummy Pig. Soon they have collected enough things, so Peppa and her family set off for the recycling centre. Mummy Pig has the bottles and Peppa has the tin cans. George has the newspapers. Is everybody ready? Asks Daddy Pig. Yes, shout Peppa and George. Clink, clink, rattle, rattle, rustle, rustle. Soon they arrive at Miss Rabbit's recycling centre. Miss Rabbit is sitting high up inside a big crane. She is busy recycling all the rusty old cars. It is very noisy. Who knows which bin the bottles go in? Asks Mummy Pig. The green one, says Peppa. That's right, snorts Daddy Pig. Clink, clink. And the cans go in the blue one, says Peppa. Well done, Peppa, smiles Mummy Pig. Rattle, rattle. Daddy Pig lifts George up so he can empty the newspapers into the red bin. Rustle, rustle. Where's our car gone? Asks Daddy Pig. Stand back, shouts Miss Rabbit from up above them. Miss Rabbit is about to recycle Peppa's car. Stop, shouts Peppa. Our car isn't old and rusty. Ho ho, silly me, says Miss Rabbit. I just love recycling. So do we, laughs Peppa. But we also love our little car. Peppa Pig New Shoes. Peppa and George have been playing in the garden. Now it is time to come inside. Peppa, says Daddy Pig, where are your shoes? Oh no, gasps Peppa. I've lost them. Peppa runs back out to the garden. She can't find her shoes anywhere. They really are lost, she cries. Don't worry, Peppa, snorts Daddy Pig. Your shoes were getting a bit old. We'll buy you a new pair, says Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig and Peppa go to Miss Rabbit's shoe shop. Mummy, asks Peppa, can my new shoes be red? Of course they can, replies Mummy Pig. Hello, says Mummy Pig. We would like to buy some new shoes for Peppa. Red ones, shouts Peppa. Please? Miss Rabbit nods, then lifts down a box from the shelf. Miss Rabbit opens the box. Here we are, she says. Red ones. Peppa tries the shoes on. They feel just right. New red shoes, she giggles. Hee hee. As soon as Peppa gets home, she rushes into the living room. Daddy, Daddy, she shouts. Look at my new shoes. They are red. I say, says Daddy Pig. They are very smart. Do you like my new shoes? Peppa asks George. Snort, snort. George likes Peppa's new shoes. Everyone likes Peppa's new shoes. Peppa likes her new shoes so much she doesn't want to take them off, ever. She even wants to wear them in the bath. Hee hee hee, Peppa giggles as she plays in the bubbles. Peppa and George get into their pyjamas. They start to brush their teeth. Are you sure you don't want to take your shoes off now? Says Mummy Pig. No, thank you, says Peppa. I am even going to wear them in bed. In the morning, Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig and George put on their boots. They want to jump in muddy puddles. Peppa frowns. Oh, she is still wearing her new red shoes. Peppa runs inside and comes back out wearing her boots. Now she can have fun without getting mud on her new red shoes. Hee hee, splish, ho ho, splash. If you want to jump in muddy puddles, she says, you must wear your boots.
See you next time.